Hello and welcome to today's video. So what I have here is a Jeep Grand Cherokee of the year 2015, which has got a 3-liter V6 engine, which produces 188 horsepower, and it has got a diesel particle filter problem. Right now, vehicles with this engine displacement and this amount of horsepower is required by those emission laws to have those diesel particle filter systems. And pretty much what is happening here is that the owner imported it from the UK, and he's been driving it as a daily driver, and it has brought him here where it is got now where it now has got a diesel particle filter problem. Right. I would like to highlight that before I get to the meat and potatoes of this video, that usually these Jeeps they've got a DPF system which is well made, and it's not usual to see it coming with a diesel particle filter problem. It's not usual, right? So I'm going to start it up and I'm going to show you exactly what it shows. So once it has been fired up, you can see here that it has got a check engine light which is still showing, right? And in the middle here, in the driver information display, it's going to immediately give you a message that says exhaust filter 100% full, service required, see dealer, something like that, right? And this is a good thing because for most people, you don't necessarily need to go to a diagnostic specialist for you to know that your vehicle has got a diesel particle filter problem. With this Jeep, it definitely tells you through that driver information display, right? So pretty much when it has got these problems, when it's got this issue, it is going to dial down the power, right? It's going to feel sluggish. It's not going to feel as powerful, as beastly as it should, right? The other symptoms that you're going to see, apart from loss of power, apart from those lights that you saw, is that you're going to see that the fuel consumption is going to increase, right? It is going to increase its fuel consumption because what happens is that the way it has been designed is that it has been designed in such a way that when there is a blockade in that diesel particle filter system, when that system is not working properly, it deliberately over fuels, right, so as to raise exhaust temperature, so as to cook whatever that is blocking the diesel particle filter system. So definitely you're going to see an increase in your fuel consumption, and just by the way you drive, because for you to get enough if just for you to get it to move forward, you press more. When it's got a DPF problem, you press more when it is in limp mode. So generally, it's just going to consume more fuel because you're demanding more fuel as you're driving. That's the reason why. But I know most of you guys who are driving these Jeeps, maybe you don't even notice it because this is a luxury vehicle. So fuel consumption is not necessarily one of your factors that you notice. You're probably going to notice power more than you will notice fuel consumption, as I've noticed with most of these guys who own these Jeeps, right? So fuel consumption is going to rise. Sometimes you might see white smoke coming from the exhaust, particularly if that DPF was breached. That's what you might see, right? So let's say you're new, it's your first time, you've never heard about diesel particle filter system, you've never heard about, probably this is something that I should have started by explaining what a diesel particle filter is, isn't it? So a diesel particle filter is a system of emission, right, which has been placed on these vehicles. They're on the exhaust, and the point is just to limit the amount of carbon footprint that is getting into the atmosphere. That's the job of that diesel particle filter system. The manufacturers didn't put it onto these vehicles because they thought it was going to make it better. No, this is something that was forced upon them by emission lawmakers, where they are saying, look, your diesel vehicles are causing so much pollution, they are causing so much soot to get into the atmosphere, and you need to put a mechanism for you to limit that system. So they then put this expensive system onto the exhaust so that nothing gets into the atmosphere. So that's pretty much how these DPF systems are working, right? They also have their own mechanisms of cleaning themselves up, because you think of any other filter, like your oil filter, air filters, and any other filter, you replace them periodically, but this one you do not replace, right? It's meant for the lifetime of the vehicle, right? That's how it has been designed. It's been designed so that it lasts the lifetime of the vehicle, and it knows that it's now clogged, and it starts to clear itself up, and it clears itself up by the overfueling hours telling you about, to say that it dumps a lot of fuel into that exhaust and it burns that exhaust, and it sometimes gets red hot whilst you're driving as it is clearing the soot. So that's pretty much how it functions, right? But you get to a point that it doesn't work anymore. You get to a point that that diesel particle filter begins to fail, right? Which brings us to the next subject, where I'm saying, in order for you to understand the solution for you, in order for you to understand how to solve your problem on this Jeep, you need to understand what has caused that problem to start in the first place, right? So let's talk about what causes those DPFs to fail. So the first thing that causes the DPF to fail is that your driving habits, simply your driving habits, right? If you're using this car for a short distance run, right? Let's say you go to work, which is 6 kilometers away or 5 kilometers away every day, right? You're not giving it enough time, because you turn it on in the morning, you drive 20 minutes, you are now at work. You're not giving it enough time. Even in traffic, you're not giving it enough time to do that self-cleaning process, which is called regeneration, right? Or passive regeneration. You're not giving it enough time. So definitely it's going to come to a point where it really blocks up, and now you've got issues, right? That's number one, right? So the next other issue that causes these DPFs to fail is an issue of contaminated fuel, right? Now, pretty much if you put fuel which is not of the best quality, it's going to burn, and there are going to be contaminants which are going to get into that DPF. When they are stuck in that DPF, when the manufacturer made that DPF, he didn't make it taking into account that you are going to put horrible quality fuel. He designed his DPF knowing that you're going to put the best quality of fuel or the right quality of fuel. So when you put bad quality of fuel, you're going to compromise the DPF. So that's another reason why you see DPF failure, right? And then the last issue why you see DPFs fail is because of, let's say, your air fuel mixtures of your vehicle are beginning to deteriorate, probably because of worn injectors, probably because of a worn turbo, or maybe oil is leaking into the exhaust for some reason, and which then goes to contaminate the DPF, right? So what we have observed as a specialist for these DPFs is that for these Jeeps, I would even include Mercedes in that bracket, they don't usually fail. The DPFs don't usually fail, and in my opinion, they're probably one of the best made DPF systems, right? Why am I saying that? Is because when you usually these, of course, these vehicles are being imported to Africa. Like this one, we're an African company and we're in Africa, and this one is being operated in Africa, and I can tell you that many of these vehicles are using horrible fuel here in Africa, and you don't usually get Jeeps having issues with DPFs. The only reason that you start to see DPF problems on these vehicles is because probably somebody tampered with that DPF, probably there's something catastrophic that happened that then caused that DPF to fail, right? On their own, by themselves, those DPFs don't fail, right? Don't fail as much as other brands, as what we have seen, right? In this particular case, I'll tell you what had happened to the customer. He had a turbo failure issue, and then he had an oil leak, which was then getting into the exhaust, which then contaminated the DPF. So he bought a brand new turbo. When he put a brand new turbo, he had a choice. Number one, buy a brand new DPF with it, because obviously the old DPF was in a horrible state, and it was going to compromise the new turbo which was bought, because what then happens is that it will then block up and it will cause back pressure which will destroy the turbo. So he had a choice, like I said, buy a brand new turbo, buy a brand new DPF after buying a brand new turbo, or completely doing what we call a DPF delete or DPF conversion to non-DPF, right? So he then went on ahead, gutted whatever is inside the exhaust, and now he's brought us so that we finish off the job to do a complete conversion to non-DPF on this vehicle. So I'm going to talk more about that as we go down into the video, but all I just wanted to explain to you is that usually these DPFs, right, of these vehicles is usually well made, right, and it's rare to see them fail, especially for a Jeep, especially for a Mercedes-Benz. It's rare to see them fail unless somebody has done something All right, or unless something catastrophic has happened, like in this case, there was a massive turbo failure, which then compromised the DPF as well. So let's get on to the solution. So I've mentioned what may cause a DPF to fail. Now let's talk about the solution. Now remember what I said earlier in this video. I said the solutions are pretty much going to be dictated by what has caused your DPF to fail in the first place. So it's important for you to investigate and understand what has caused your DPF to fail in order for you to pick the right solution that is going to work, right? So the first solution that is there is regeneration, and this is the most immediate solution that we recommend everybody. It's called forced regeneration, where you just take it to a diagnostic specialist or your mechanic. They put it on a computer, they initiate forced regeneration, and it's simply going to burn up the soot. It's going to rev itself for a period of time, trying to cook whatever is inside the DPF. Now sometimes this can work, sometimes this might not work. The reason why this method might fail, right, is because of the fuel that you're using. So remember what I said, one of the reasons that causes your DPF to fail is contaminated fuel. So if, let's say, a regeneration was done, right, and your vehicle has cleared up the exhaust and the soot buildup has been sorted, right, and you go back and you start using the same horrible fuel that you were using before, you're not solving anything, right? You're simply, in a short period of time, you're going to come back again and you're going to start having DPF problems, right? That's the story here, right? And if it was because you are driving too short journeys, probably you drive 6 kilometers on a daily basis and you park the car. If you do a regeneration and you keep on with your same old driving habits, you're still going to have the same problems, right, of a DPF blockade. So what you then need to do when you implement a regeneration, you have to make a plan. You have to make a commitment going forward to change your driving habits and to change your fuel quality that you're using, right? That then almost I don't know if I can use the word guarantees, or that would then ensure that the solution of regeneration is going to stick and is going to last for a longer period of time, right? So that's pretty much what we are really trying to say here. So first solution, that's regeneration. The second solution that you have to your disposal, obviously when regeneration has failed, you've changed your driving habits, you have started using the right quality of fuel. When all that has failed, the second solution that you have at your disposal is buying a brand new DPF. Now, this is not something that that is going to be kind to you financially, because these DPFs are very expensive, right? But at that point, what it simply tells you is that your DPF has been contaminated to a point that it is now beyond any way that it can be resolved, right? Now I know there are other methods that you can try where they can put it in a high pressure system and try to wash it, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, right? With some special chemicals, I guess, and probably it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But pretty much when regeneration has failed, the best next solution is actually to buy a brand new DPF. Now, if you are in a third world country where there are no emission laws like where we are from, you also have got a third solution which is at your disposal, which is what we specialize with here at the DPF. We will help you convert your vehicle to non-DPF, right? Converting a vehicle to non-DPF is simply getting rid of that DPF system completely, right? And then your vehicle will just operate just like all the other 2004, 2005 vehicles which never had a DPF in the first place. Now, obviously, if you're in your first world country, you cannot pursue this option because it's illegal in your country, right, to do such modifications on your exhaust. It's illegal to get rid of an emission system unless if you're using the car on your farm, unless if you're using the car off a highway or something like that, then maybe you can pursue that, right? But pretty much that is the last solution, which then becomes a bulletproof solution. getting rid of the system once and for all, right? So that's exactly what we are doing on this Jeep Grand Cherokee. And I'm just going to touch on some of the benefits, right? I'm going to touch on the benefits about doing a conversion to non-DPF. But first, let's talk about buying a brand new DPF. So like I said, if you quickly rush to buy a brand new DPF without addressing some of the reasons why your DPF failed in the first place, you're wasting money. Let's say it's a turbo that has failed, that caused the DPF to clog up, right? And then you buy and you just simply replace the DPF, and you don't replace the turbo, you don't fix the turbo issue, or you don't fix the failing FUO ratio issue, or you don't clean up the EGR or something like that. What's going to end up happening is that in the same manner that the first DPF failed, is going to fail again and again and again, right? And your bill is just going to be high for these DPFs here. You're probably going to go on your third or fourth DPF. So usually what we have noted is if you buy a DPF for the first time, if you replace a DPF for the first time, your chances of buying a second or third DPF, they are very high, right? Unless you look at what has caused your DPF to fail in the first place and you resolve that. That's what I'm trying to get out to you, right? So talking about the last solution, which is converting your vehicle to non-DPF, there are benefits that follow, right? Because this is what we do. I'm going to talk about the benefits that follow, the benefits that we have seen, and the benefits that we have documented. So obviously you're going to see an improvement in power, so simply because your turbo is far much happier, able to breathe, no restrictions in the exhaust. Your vehicle is going to feel a little bit lighter, in fact a lot lighter, and it's going to feel much more powerful as you drive it, right? That's number one. Number two, you're going to see an improvement in fuel consumption, right? Now, what do I mean by fuel consumption? I'm saying that, remember what I talked about, that process of doing regeneration, that process of clearing the exhaust by itself. It is done by deliberately overfueling, and because it's no longer doing that, it's going to translate into benefits in terms of fuel consumption. And like I said, most of you guys who drive these vehicles, most likely you don't even notice the issue of fuel consumption. But it's going to be a benefit that you're going to see. And if your vehicle was producing white smoke where it was breached before, maybe the DPF was stolen or it was breached, because people apparently steal these things and they sell them for money, that white smoke is going to disappear once that conversion is done. So after we had done a conversion on the Jeep that you saw earlier, I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you us testing the vehicle, right? The results of after, how it feels to drive, and so forth, right? And if this is something that you're interested in having done on your vehicle, you can contact us in the description below. So I'm going to run the video immediately so that you see us testing the vehicle. So now we have finished working this Jeep. Now I'm taking it for a road test so that I make sure everything is perfect, everything is operating as it should. You remember inside the instrument cluster, it was showing that that DPF error message and a check engine light. At the same time, it was not giving enough the power that it is supposed to give as a Jeep. But now as I'm driving, you can actually feel the surge, okay? So if I put my foot down, there we go. Now it feels like a proper Jeep now. So before we release a vehicle to a client, we properly test this vehicle so that we ensure that there are no problems that are going to emanate, right? As you can see here, I'm doing a pull, just checking for smoke, and as you can see, it just puffs normal black smoke, which is normal for a diesel vehicle. It will not do anything excessive, it will not smoke excessively, unless if there's an underlying problem. But pretty much we simulate all highway driving conditions, all conditions, city driving conditions, just noticing everything is in order before we actually release the vehicle to a client, because obviously our solution is a lifetime guarantee, so we want to make sure everything is perfect before we release a vehicle. So I've driven this car over a distance of about 40 kilometers. As you can see, that message which was talking about a diesel particle filter is no longer showing. There is no check engine light as well. There was a funny symbol that was here again. I don't know if you can see over there, but it's gone as well. So I've just parked for a moment so that I can so that we can check for smoke, right? So that we make sure that there is no smoke coming out, and it's because when DPF is not done properly, these cars tend to smoke white smoke. So as you can see, there's no smoke coming from the back. You know, after you do a bit of a run on the highway, when you stop, you start to see white smoke shooting from the exhaust. This car is not shooting any smoke, white smoke coming from the back, so it's performing brilliantly, as you saw. We're just going to continue our endurance test, and when we are done, we know we are done. Now, one thing I want to point out, I want you to look at how quickly it goes from 0 to 80, right? Before it wouldn't do that, right? Before it wouldn't quickly get up to speed like that, and this is a real significant improvement for the driver, because obviously they've been complaining that the car wasn't giving them the power that it was doing before. And there's a point that as I was driving, I got to a truck. I was following an 18-wheeler, and just passing it was so easy. It was a breeze. I wasn't even applying a lot of, probably I was applying maybe 30% throttle, and it was so easy to just pass and go beyond, right? Total speed. So there you have it. If you find yourself having a problem with a DPF on this Jeep Grand Cherokee, don't hesitate. All you just have to do is to contact the numbers that you're looking at on the screen. We should be able to help you. Doesn't matter if you are outside of our borders. I know we've helped other people who are not necessarily in our country, other people who are out of our country. All you just have to do, send us a message on WhatsApp, send us a message on Facebook, or even call the number that you're looking at. Then we discuss. We should be able to help you. Thank you very much for watching.